Basically regarding that, so we have already covered like what is risk, what are the risk management, and where we can use these techniques. Now we will cover the various types of organization where this risk management is being used. Okay, so why it is being applicable to those, why the necessity is being developed, like we need to have the risk management. So I'll covering this unit. Okay, the first thing that I'll be cover is the risk management in the banking sector. Okay, as we all know, okay, the risk management in banking, see, risk management is basically involved everywhere where the financial transactions are there. Okay, anything that is related to money and the institutes are being there, so we need to take care of that. Okay, so what is risk management in banking? It is basically the logical development and execution of a plan to deal with the potential losses. So if you look into the definition, so what is it is clearly written that you need to develop the logical development of a plan. Means you need to plan properly. Then why you need to plan accordingly? Because you need to deal with the potential losses, like what losses will be there. You need to foresee them, and then you can plan. And then once you have planned the thing, then you need to execute. Okay, so basically it involves both the aspect. The first thing is you need to foresee, then you need to develop a strategy, and then you need to execute. Okay, so basically the one thing which we have covered earlier in the risk management, so we are taking into consideration that only. And how it is being applicable in banking, I'll cover that. So the first thing, like usually the focus of the risk management practices in the banking and industry is to manage the institution exposure to the losses or risk. Why? So that to protect the value of the assets. Okay, so in general the banking business is regarding as a risky business. So why it is so? Because there are basically, you can say, the money is being involved. As I told you, money is being involved, many parties are being involved, and you can't be sure of everyone's creditability. Okay, since you are not aware of about anyone's creditability, like how much creditability it is and how you can deal with those things, you need to have the proper risk management techniques. Now economic theory basically suggests there are two types of economic unit. What is the those two economic unit? First is the surplus unit, and second is the deficit units. So what is a surplus unit? The surplus unit is the one with those who are having surplus fund with them, so they can lend the money. And the deficit units are the one who need money, maybe for their personal purposes or for the business, so whatsoever. So basically those economic unit prefer to have financial institutions, or you can say intermediaries, to transfer the necessary funds to each other. Like the surplus one will give it to the financial intermediary. So which what is it? It is basically the bank. And the deficit units who need money, they will approach bank and they will be provided with the amount which they need. So the process increasing the importance of the intermediaries. Obviously their importance is being increased because they act as a link between the two. So what is the problem which is being associated with that? Okay, the bank is acting as a financial intermediary, but what is the problem that lies with it is that it is having asymmetric information. Why so? Because the information, lack of information will hinder that. So the institution, what to recover that, what they do, they hire, recruit the skilled employees, basically the persons who have degrees with the financials. They hire those people. That is why the scarce resources of fund are now used more efficiently. Because as we know, okay, the someone may have the surplus, but we can't say the economic resources that are available in the market are surplus. No, they are never. They are always in scarcity. You can't say that the one person will have surplus funds throughout the life. No, so the surplus fund will be for a restricted period only. So by that time, the scarce resources will be employed in that way. Okay, so you need to employ those resources. So the funds are challenged, basically channelized to meet the valuable projects. So we need to basically set a criteria. So this is the project which is very beneficial, I need to provide loans for that. So bank basically set the criteria. There are basic criteria. So, okay, this is the one having a good creditability and they have a larger scale that they can grow into a good organization, so they'll be providing, they have certain criteria on the basis of which the loan are being granted. So they, because once they have a resources with them, there are many person who need funds, they can't provide it to everyone, so they prioritize the things accordingly. Okay, and then they provide the loans to the needy person. So the risk management process in banking, they variously highlight the various questions. What are those questions? The first question that arises is what kind of events can damage the banking business and how much damage can be done. Since you are involved in the banking, you are being there as a person who will be helping them out with the various projects. So what you need to take into consideration is like what kind of events can damage banking. Like if you are providing loan to someone who is not having a good creditability, then it will be obviously a loss to the banking. So what you need, what kind of events you need to identify them. Okay, these are the things which can hinder my progress, or you can say will prove as a loss to me. So you need to identify those risks, and then you need to assess that. Okay, मेरे को इसको loan नहीं देना है, and then you need to assess. Assess means you need to make a proper assessment कि कितना इसका creditability है, मैं इसको कितने तक loan provide कर सकता हूँ, how much amount he can pay me back. Then the second thing that will be there is what kind of actions should be taken by the institutions in order to manage those risks. Like what kind of actions, like what are the precautionary measures which every bank or the institute will be employing. Okay, so he need to basically, as I told you, that he need to develop a proper plan, like how he need to plan and then how he has to execute that plan. So he need to properly formulate that. Then is that did the institution make the right decision? Like if the bank has make a proper decision by investing, okay, by developing a proper strategy and executing, you have done your plan. See what we have done in the risk management, सबसे पहले हम identify करते थे, उसने identify किया कि इसमें मुझे कितना loss है, उसने उसको assess किया. Then second what he did is he developed a proper execution plan, like how he has to execute that plan. And the third thing that is being there is that he need to make a continuous review. See, once the things are only and only beneficial once you monitor those things. So the last function is very important, like he need to monitor, मैंने जो plan बनाया, how much it is beneficial or how fruitful it is for me. So he need to follow a proper plan. He need to properly review the reports of the risk management, like whatsoever strategies he have planned, is it beneficial, if they are proving fruitful to him or not. So this overall purpose of risk management process is to evaluate the potential losses for the banks in future and to take the precautions. He need to properly formulate, okay, these are the risks, he need to foresee those losses or risk, then he need to take the precautionary measures so that he can basically execute the plans properly. So looking on to the historical perspective of the risk management, earlier what the risk management cover, see in banking only, I'm talking the perspective of the bank only. So the concept of risk management in banking, when it arises, it basically arises in 90s. However, risk management before 90s, what was it? It was basically related to the techniques and related to the insurance. The bank need to have the insurance, and this is what it's basically done. So this kind of risk management refer to the purchase any traditional insurance per se, any traditional product you purchase insurance related, and you feel okay, we are secure for the future. This is what a traditional perspective it is. But what is going nowadays, that more recently in the financial markets, derivatives have also been promoted. Now every one of you being a financial students always know what is derivatives. Okay, so you need to understand like what is basically why the derivatives are in the financial market. So that is why the derivatives come as in here for this existence, like for the financial risk management. So financial market, what happened, they basically develop the derivatives so that the risk management, they act as a risk management tool. Okay, so the financial risk management, if you can see, the derivatives are used as a solution to basically provide for that. So derivatives are not only used for hedging, but also for the are used for the risk management. So the derivatives, you can say there are various committees that are being there, like for to manage the risk in banking. The basic committee, which you will hear the name again and again, is a Basel Committee on the Banking Supervision. They provide the core principle of effective banking supervision. कैसे होना चाहिए, उन्होंने प्रॉपर आपको सुपरविजन के लिए प्रिंसिपल्स बताए कि दीज आर द प्रिंसिपल एंड यू नीड टू वर्क अकॉर्डिंगली. ओके, so this provide the basically the risk between capital and risk, like okay, this much capital you are employing and how much risk is being involved in that. So they provide the proper principles for that. So this is what the historical perspective or the, you can say, the newer perspective is there. Now banks are in the risk business. Why? As I told you, whatsoever is there, जिस भी जगह पे आपका पैसा लगता है, it becomes very risky because you employ your hard earned money. Now you have suppose you have deposited your hard earned money with the bank. You can't take a risk कि बैंक ने, अच्छा कल आपको बैंक ये नहीं बोल सकता ना, अच्छा आपका पैसा डूब गया. No, so the banks are already in the risk business because they are employing the funds of others. Okay, उनके पास दूसरों के funds and they are answerable. They need to answer them and they need to give it back when and whenever it is required by the person. So while banks provide financial services, they also act as a middleman. Okay, पहले कैसे था accepting and lending. Now they are also acting as a middleman in the transaction. So there are various kinds of a risk. Okay, the first risk that will be there is the creditability of a person. Either his creditability, उसका क्या है क्या नहीं है. In case of foreign exchange also, you know that there is a policy of having a credit letter. So a bank act as a, basically you can say, a credit, give his appreciation for that, you can say, basically provide insurance. So if something happens wrong, so he will be held liable. So the bank is always into the risky business, you can say. So the bank use these financial instrument, like what, like they use financial instrument like balance sheet to complete the transaction and absorb the risk associated. So they act, basically balance sheet include the risk related to the bank traditional as well as the trading activities. So whatever risk is there, it is being tried that it should be covered. Okay, so now coming on to the banking system. Banking system में क्या रहता है, एक होता है direct finance, एक होता है indirect finance. So apart from the other type of financial companies, what banks do is they act as a financial intermediaries and depository institution. Okay, they act as an agent between the two person, and they also perform the basic traditional function, that is accepting money and lending the money. So they act as intermediary between depositor, as I told you, the one who is having surplus fund, and between the person who is having the deficient fund. So he will be acting as a link between the two. So once he is acting as a link between the two, what it is required, see, if you can see that the banks are usually money deposit to generate a profit. They are highly leveraged firms. They are usually regulated by the authorities. There are obviously various authorities which are basically providing, the various committees are there which are providing the regulation. I'll be covering each and everything in the next slide only. Like what are the various committees, what are the various principles that are governing the banking industry. So the safeness, or you can say the soundness of the bank is very important. Once a bank fails, it basically hampers the economic growth. Okay, so that is why direct and indirect finance. Okay, then coming on to the depository finance institution, banks are collecting deposit from their customers. So bank basically collect deposit from the customer as they have sufficient funds, and then they raise funds from other lenders. They can lend their money to the third party as a credit. So this is basically, you can say, the traditional function which is being done by the banks. So the bank are a particular institution that allocate the money to the profitable projects. So it is their, you can say, if I am giving my money to bank, what I want, so I want that my money should be employed in something profitable so that I can earn that interest. So it will be only and only done if the bank take care of everything and then it employs the funds. So the source of revenue, I mean, basically, if you can see the revenue, okay, it is accepting money, lending money, then it is taking the other functions also. So what is basically, you can say, the income of a bank. So bank, if you can see, there is a term that is used in the banking is a spread. So what is a spread? Spread is basically, you can say, it is a difference between the interest rate of the deposit and credits. Okay, so the deposit report of deposit and credit means the bank, if you can see, वो क्या करता है, आपसे जिस अमाउंट पे लिया, जितने इंटरेस्ट पे आपके लिया, उससे ज्यादा पे किसी को तभी देगा, तभी जो रेस्ट ऑफ द इनकम दैट इज विद हिम, दैट डिफरेंस बिटवीन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द दीज टू, will be his income, that is known as the spread. So the most crucial indicator of banking is the ratio of the credit to deposit. Okay, kitna ratio hai? The higher the income, you can say the higher the rate. So we can say the more healthy our banking system is. So during the period of crisis, if you can see, the bank is not able to provide much loan to the customer. Why? Because there are many type of assumptions. Okay, bank डूब जाएगा, ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा. So these are basically the rumors which hamper the growth. So now coming on to the next, like what can we do with our excess money? See, every one of us being in a life, okay, we have some money that is surplus with us, or we don't need it at present. We can't say it is a surplus. We can say we don't need it to meet our financial requirements today only. We need it in a future, maybe after 1 year or 2 years. So what we do with our excess money, we keep that money in the bank so that we can earn something, or we can earn the interest over that. So basically, if there are two purpose, like there are two things we can do with our idle money. Either I can just have it with me, other I can invest it with the banks, so that bank can employ it in some basically you can say resourceful things, so that it can generate income for me. So obviously generating income for me is more important rather than holding that cash with me. So basically the deficient units which need money for the requirement find the necessary sources from the financial intermediaries or directly from the financial markets. Okay, so they have those funds with them and then they can employ that. So delivering the surplus money to the investor is basically the function which a bank perform. Now, how do banks generate income in general? If you can see, banks can generate typical, you can say generate income, as I told you, by a rate at an interest that is higher than the cost of acquiring, that is known as spread. जितने पे लेता है उससे ज्यादा पे इंटरेस्ट पे किसी को देता है, तो ऑब्वियसली जो डिफरेंस रहता है वो उसकी इनकम होती है. Then lending and deposit represent the primary activity, or you can say the traditional function of the bank. So it also act as a income for the banks. So coming on to the bank's liability, or you can say the bank's equity, what you can see once you see the bank ka, agar aap kabhi balance sheet dekhoge, what you will see over there, the first thing that you will see is a large performance proportion of the bank's liability consists of deposit. So the deposit here means the accounts represent basically the customer holding, जो customer ने आपके पास पैसा रखा है. So for the future transaction or to earn the interest, you can say. So you can say what happened after the transaction is get completed. These types of account, you can say what happened after that amount is being matured. The people generally what they do, that they pay, bank is obliged to pay either the full amount or partial amount as per the demand of the customer. या तो हम बोलते हैं हमारा पूरा पैसा दे दो, या हम बोलते हैं ठीक है हमें जितना चाहिए अभी उतना दे दो. So depositor are always concerned about their future money, so that they prefer at least maturity. See, everyone is like, once we go to the bank, we being a middle class, what we do, we invest our money with the banks for the small period. Okay, 1 year का FD कर दिया, 1 year का उसमें किया investment, so that we can have it after 1 year. So that because we always think कि जितना कम में लिखेंगे तो कैसे उसका mobility ज्यादा रहेगा और हमें easily available हो जाएगा. So bank will always have to take precaution of that, so that whenever a person require that fund, it is available for them. So a person, you can say, for this reason, in order to meet the urgent cash needs in future, whenever a customer demands, so the depositor chooses shorter period. So all banks pay interest on saving, while they pay little, or you can say no charge on the checking, or you can say the current account. ठीक है, जो करंट अकाउंट होते हैं उस पे अगर आपको देखा जाए तो कुछ भी इंटरेस्ट नहीं रहता है, because they are basically employed by those businessmen. But as far as this saving account is concerned, they are more given interest. Rather अभी interest सभी का ही कम है, but still better than the credit that current account. Now coming on to the next, that is the remaining part of the bank's balance sheet consists of debt and equity. So what does it mean, debt and equity? That means deposit are the primary source of loanable funds in the banking. So bank capital have a vital role in the banking. So banking capital कब से employ हुआ? After the Basel Committee amendments were attached in many countries, the capital account become an essential buffer against the possible. So always bank keep some capital account with them so that in case of urgency they can use that funds. So it was employed after the Basel committee give the amendments for that. Okay, after that it was being employed in many countries. So the concept of risk management and critical element is the minimum capital to cover the losses. Like this is the minimum amount of capital which I have to employ every time so that I cover the losses from the bank activities. If there is any losses, I can cover that. Okay, so this way bank assures, okay, whenever the requirement is there, I'll be able to pay the funds. And the final source of fund is debt. See, समटाइम देयर इज अ अर्जेंट रिक्वायरमेंट. कई बार होता है न्यूज में आता है कि अच्छा अभी आपको सारा फंड देना है या कुछ भी ऐसा आपने इंफॉर्मेशन सोचा, तो मोस्ट ऑफ द कस्टमर गो के नो वी नीड द फंड्स, और मे बी समथिंग हैपन लाइक दिस पैंडेमिक हैज हैपेंड. सो मोस्ट ऑफ द पर्सन व्हाट दे आर गोइंग, लाइक they are not getting the full salary. So what they are doing, they are basically getting their funds which they have basically employed in the banks also. तो भी वो क्या कर रहे हैं, वो उसी डिपॉजिट को अपने पास ले रहे हैं और उससे गुजारा कर रहे हैं. सो व्हाट द दिस डेट मींस, डेट हियर मींस कई बार क्या होता है बहुत ज्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट आ गई एंड एवरी टाइम द बैंक विल नॉट हैव दैट सफिशिएंट फंड विद इट. सो व्हाट दे विल डू, दे कैन हैव अ डेट, they can basically get the funds from the other banks. Okay, so this is known as the loanable resources. वो किसी और से लोन लेके, बैंक्स का इंट्रा बैंक रिसोर्स रहता है, वो लोन ले लेते हैं और वो आपको प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं. Now there are some topics which are related to this, or you can see the various terms which you will be able to hear. The first term I have used is the asymmetric information. What is that? You can see the information, the banking is the, what is it? Like it is not basically the counterparty in the process of financing create two issues. First, अगर कभी भी asymmetric information होती है तो क्या होता है, moral hazard होता है, adverse selection problem होती है. क्यों होती है? Because one party in the deal knows more than the other party and this unequal information provide this प्रॉब्लम. ओके, एक को सरप्लस वाले को पता है कि अच्छा आगे क्या होने वाला है ये सब, तो उसके बेसिस पे वो एम्प्लॉय करता है. बट द अदर पर्सन हु इज इन डेफिशिएंट इज नॉट एबल टू हैव दैट इंफॉर्मेशन एंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट दिस इंफॉर्मेशन जो प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट होता है दैट इज बेसिकली रिलेटेड टू द मोरल हैजार्ड और यू कैन से द एडवर्स सिलेक्शन. आपको जो सिलेक्ट करना था आपने वो सिलेक्ट नहीं किया और आपने कुछ और सिलेक्ट कर दिया. देन इज द एजेंसी प्रॉब्लम. सी, all of us know about the principal agent relation. When we are lending money or other functions are there, so bank is acting as a agent for us. Okay, so the principal agent relation employs. So what in the banking sector, bank and its client within the concept of asymptomatic information concept, what will happen, like choosing and changing the purpose. Like basically I have given bank some money which I have surplus with the perspective, okay, I'll be able to get more interest or I'll be able to employ it in a profitable way. But what happened, क्योंकि कुछ उसमें प्रॉब्लम हुआ और क्या हो गया, मैंने वो एम्प्लॉय उसने किसी ऐसे फंड में कर दिया जो उसको नहीं करना चाहिए था. जस्ट बाय just they have heard of some information, okay, these shares will be going up or something, and they employed my hard earned money in something, and because of them I'll face the loss. So this is what you can say there occur a agency problem, because being my agent they need to employ my funds according to my wishes. But if they have employed something, my funds in something that is not beneficial, so here come the agency problem. Now there is one problem that arises, that is the free rider problem. So what is a free rider problem means that it is necessary for making decision on the concept of efficient Marquis hypothesis. So basically we divide it into two. The first kind of information, see, if whenever you want to invest in, you can say mutual funds or anything like share market, what we do, we go and read about those shares which we want to apply, or we go and listen to the news like CNBC and all that, NDTV. So okay, hame proper information, okay, like what is the future perspective of this share. So on the basis of that we employ the funds. But there are two types of person, you can say there are. The first, like if you can see, the first kind of information is publicly available information and the other is private. What does it mean? Like some investor pay money for the information when they make decision, and other people what that he acha isne isme employ kiya, I will also invest my funds. So this is hard, you can say half information. So what will happen, this is known as the free rider problem in the financial market, where some market participants follow others while making decision either to buy or either to sell. अच्छा, उसने बोला कि ये शेयर का मार्केट बढ़ जाएगा, ओके आई विल एम्प्लॉय. उसने बोला ये शेयर का मार्केट कम हो जाएगा, आई विल गेट माय मनी बैक. So on the basis of that only, you haven't heard, you haven't read anything, you haven't read the newspaper, or you can say the various articles related to that, and you haven't seen basic the profile of the company, but just by hearing the half information you are doing that. So this is known as the free rider problem. Okay, now come the banking insolvencies and the crisis. See, in the recent we have seen various sort of insolvencies and crisis of the bank. So when it arises, it's basically in the 80s that the banking crisis become increasingly hot topic. बहुत सारे banks थे जिनका हमने सुना कि अच्छा ये insolvent हो गया, वो हो गया, तो क्या हुआ? Financial liberalization starts with the idea of freeing the market. तो हमने क्या सोचा कि market को free करते हैं so that there can be globalization and everything become global, and it becomes easy to generate funds. Okay, so there are two reasons for integrating that financial market. First, it helps the country to assess capital for developing their country, like whatsoever funds they require they can easily get that. And second is they can improve opportunity for the countries that have excess funds. जिसके पास भी excess में funds रहेगा वो invest कर सकता है किसी और opportunities में, ठीक है, वो उसकी investment opportunity improve हो जाएगी. Now coming on to the various type, I told you okay risk management क्या होता है, banks में किस तरह की insolvency होती है. Now what exactly we need in the banking, what are the functions which the bank are performing, and what are the various instruments which we are using. Now come the topic like is what are the types of risk. There are various types of risk which are being involved in the bank, or you can say in the banking sector. And the first that is being there is a liquidity risk. What does liquidity risk means? Like you focus on the problem of having insufficient liquid first to compensate the cash needs or withdrawal from depositors. Suppose I have invested my money with the bank, I have deposited my 1 crore rupees in the bank. Now coming on to that, when I need that money, I went to bank and bank said nahi mere paas to abhi nahi hai. So this is where the liquidity issue arises. So to maintain the liquidity position of the bank, it is basically the crucial task. Why? Because you don't need to have the low level of the risk, low level of liquidity. अगर low level of liquidity होगा तो what will happen? अरे इसके पास तो पैसे नहीं थे, मैं पैसे लेने गई, and now the things will get worse for the bank, and everyone will feel okay the bank is not solvent enough that it can pay to its customers. And second thing, if they have more liquidity तो क्या होगा, वो अपने पास ही आइडियल फंड्स रख के बैठेगा कि कभी तो कोई लेने आएगा, सो मैं अपने पास ही वो लिक्विडिटी रखता हूं ताकि मुझे सबको देने में आसानी हो. तो व्हाट विल हैपन, इट विल नॉट बी एबल टू जनरेट द इनकम फॉर विच दैट पर्पस, उसका वो पर्पस ही खत्म हो जाएगा. Basically bank का purpose है to generate money, so they will not be able to generate money. So what it is required is that the bank need to borrow funds immediately with extra. अभी आप गए बैंक में, आपको बैंक से पैसे नहीं मिले, so what the bank will do, it will basically get the, you can say debt from others. ठीक है, उसने दूसरे से लोन लेके आपको प्रोवाइड किया, that is you can say the central bank or you can say the RBI or basically you can say from the other banks. So what will happen, they will provide you with the cash, but what will happen, जो interest है obviously जब एकदम से बैंक किसी दूसरे बैंक से लेता है, it will be charged more. So their liquidity will be hampered and they will have to pay a higher cost. So for the liquidity purpose, what the bank is required, that they need to have a proper strike between the what amount of liquidity they should hold, what amount of funds they should have, so that they can meet the requirements of the customer. Now liquidity risk, you can say when it arises basically when you are not able to meet the obligations of the customers. So if they are not able to meet, what will happen, it will obviously happen, it will obviously threaten the financial position of the company, or sorry, the banks. Okay, so liquidity risk we can categorize it in further. First is the funding risk, then is a time risk, and the call risk. Although these are not, but I have still tried to put it into the slide so that if you want you can study funding risk, time risk, and the call risk. Now I have told you like liquidity risk will be there. Okay, now you understand like what type of liquidity risk will be there. Now we need to have a proper risk management for that. So what a bank will do, It ensures that a balance sheet earn a desired net interest margin without exposing the institution to undue risk from the interest. Basically, it will generate more income with it. Then it need to plan and structure a balance sheet with a proper mix of assets and liability so that it can optimize the risk which is being there, then assess its ability to meet its cash flow and the collateral needs, like whatsoever cash needs will be there or whatsoever other needs will be there. So it will not be without having a negative impact on day-to-day operations. So the bank will have basically take into consideration all these factors, and then it can mitigate the risk by developing strategy and taking proper actions. So it need to follow a proper plan of action, and accordingly it can do that. Now the next that is there, the type of risk is there is the interest rate risk. Now what is the interest rate risk means? The market interest rate are determined by the market dynamics, like you can say the market risk. अभी क्या है, आपने जो बैंक में फंड्स रखा, बैंक ने क्या किया, उसको मार्केट में लगाया, सिक्योरिटीज में लगाया, किसी चीज में लगाया. सो द इंटरेस्ट रेट बेसिकली जो मार्केट इंटरेस्ट रेट है दैट विल ऑब्वियसली you can say is guided by the supply and demand condition. So under that condition, the movement of interest rate which bank are using for their activities also have effect on income and expenses. कितने income होंगे, कितने expense होंगे, it will vary according to the interest rate variation. So the some of the bank assets which are generating interest revenue, like you can say security investment or any liabilities, so they will vary according to the interest rate. So the change will have an impact on the bank's profit. So you can basically say it as the interest rate risk. So it is refers to the current or the prospective risk to the bank capital and earnings. So these are the basically the risks which are being involved in the banking. So there are some subtypes of also this. Now the third risk that is being there is the market risk. So the Basel Committee on the Banking Supervision, what it defines, that it defines market risk as a risk of losses in and off balance sheet risk position, which basically arise because of the market prices. Market की prices की वजह से वो risk होता है. So इसको systematic risk भी बोलते हैं. Why? Because bank asset with their values are changed by the systematic factor, or you can say the market risk. So market risk can be related to the prices which are continuously trading on the financial markets. तो ये financial market की वजह से जो उनमें changes होती हैं, उसमें जो changes आएगी, that will impact the market risk. That is why it is known as the market risk. So इसके लिए क्या होता है? Hedging provide opportunity for the market hedge the risk, but this is not completely diversify, use hedging techniques and all that, but we can't control it properly. You can't say that it will basically eliminate. No, it will only get, you can say you can कम कर सकते हो बट खत्म नहीं कर सकते हो. ओके, सो अदर कंसेप्ट वी कैन नो इज पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट. हम पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट बोलते हैं ना, बैंकिंग में पोर्टफोलियो मैनेज करने के लिए हमने उनको दिया है. सो दीज आर द बेसिकली द फंक्शन व्हिच द बैंक इज परफॉर्मिंग ओवर देयर. Then that the other is the credit risk. So what is the credit risk over here is, or you can say the default risk. Just a second, let me have water, just a second. Okay, so what is the credit risk? See, bank का main function क्या है? Lending money. So when you have lent your money, you have given the hard-earned money of someone. I deposited money with bank and someone come and applied for loan and the bank provides the loan to that party. Okay, so that party was not able to pay that loan. वो पार्टी ने लोन नहीं दिया, बट बैंक कांट आंसर मी कि उसने मुझे लोन नहीं दिया, लोन का अमाउंट नहीं दिया, देन आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू पे यू. ओके, तो बैंक मुझे तो ये नहीं बोल सकता. सो व्हाट दिस बेसिकली लीड टू अ, यू कैन से द क्रेडिट रिस्क, बिकॉज क्रेडिटेबिलिटी किसी की नहीं है, उस इंसान ने आपका लोन नहीं दिया, बैंक का लोन नहीं दिया. सो व्हाट विल इट लीड टू? इट विल लीड टू अ क्रेडिट रिस्क. सो बेसिकली the risk that arises because of the other party which is being involved with the banking is not able to pay the credit which they have basically taken up from the bank. So when you can say it basically arises because of the default of the borrower. It may be कि वो अपना principal amount ही नहीं दे पाया, and it may be that they are not able to repay the interest. So what are the credit risk? It can be counterparty risk, as I told you that the one party is not able to pay the risk, and the second is the country risk. That means the risk for the non-performance of counterparty due to restriction imposed by country. That is, this risk arises basically in the foreign transactions only. Now coming on to the next, that is the earning risk. So what is the earning risk means? The risk that is related to the bank's net income, which is the last income or on the income statement, due to changes in the competition level of banking law and regulation. This will cause a reduction in the bank's net income. Okay, so what will happen? That the recent increasing in the banking narrow the spread between the return on bank asset and the cost of funding the bank liability. So bank क्या करेगा? Bank की authorities क्या करेंगे? They will basically give more opportunity for other banks to come and be a part of a competition so that this risk can be covered. Or you can say they will be able to face the competition for that. Then is a solvency or the default risk. So what is that solvency or default risk? The bank's initial concern about the institution should be the long-term sustainability for the sector. So बैंक का पहला क्या होता है कि हाँ लॉन्ग टर्म सस्टेनेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए, तो उसमें दो क्रिटिकल सिचुएशंस होती हैं व्हेन बैंक मैनेजमेंट हैव अ सिग्निफिकेंट अमाउंट ऑफ बैड लोन्स इन देयर क्रेडिट. ओके, बहुत सारे बैड लोन्स रहते हैं तो उससे क्या होता है वो नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स हो जाते हैं, और यू कैन से इट विल बेसिकली हैम्पर द बैंक्स इनकम in gen or when its portfolio investments subsequently decline in the value. So in general, bank's capital account, which is designed to absorb such losses, see every bank has some capital account with them. If they have a more of the, you can say, these bad losses or bad loans with them, so what will happen? अगर उनके पास बहुत सारे बैड लोन्स हो जाएंगे तो क्या होगा? तो उनके पास वो बैड लोन्स हो गए तो वो दे विल नॉट, वो कैपिटल अकाउंट जो है वो पूरा का पूरा उसमें हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो फिर वो क्या होगा? बैंक के लिए एक प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा. दैट विल बी फॉर द सॉल्वेंसी, बिकॉज अगर कुछ इमीडिएट नीड आती है दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू फुलफिल दैट. सो that is why this is known as the solvency risk. Then is the operational risk. So this risk basically arises due to errors, interruptions or damage caused by people or processes. Okay, there may be, you have heard of various types of frauds that are taking place in the bankings also. So basically that is being done by one or a group of a people, but it leads to the risk to the whole organization. Then is the bank's reputational risk. So what is a bank's reputational risk means? The risk of the damage to the bank image that occurs due to some dubious actions taken by the banks. The bank taken up some dubious actions mean they have employed your hard-earned money with something without just listening into some publicity. Okay, this share will be going up, these prices are going to up. So they have, or they have provided loans by just listing, okay, this party's creditability. Okay, this is credit. They didn't have check out all the necessary documents and all that. So it will basically lead to the bank's reputation risk, because once they are not able to repay the customers, so it will basically hamper the reputation of the bank. So then other is the bank's, you can see the risk identification. So what is a risk identification means? बेसिकली कभी भी आपको रिस्क का आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए मैंने आपको बताया था क्या करते हैं हम, सबसे पहले इवैल्यूएट करते हैं व्हाट सॉर्ट ऑफ अ रिस्क इज दिस एंड हाउ मच impact or magnitude it will hold for me. So this is known as the risk management. Then there is one more risk that is known as the step in risk. The risk that a bank decide to provide financial support to an unconsolidated entity that is facing stress, or you can say in the absence of any contextual obligations to provide such support. So this is the step in risk where the bank have provide to the basically to support to an unconsolidated entity. Okay, so obviously this will lead to a problem for the bank. See, for the risk management, we have covered for the banking various types of risk which are being involved in the market. ओके बैंक के पास कौन कौन से रिस्क हैं, बैंक की इंसॉल्वेंसी एंड क्राइसिस, वी हैव लर्नड अबाउट दैट. देन व्हाट आर द वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम दैट बैंकिंग फेस, and then we have learned about how do banks generate income, like what is the source of income for the banks. Now coming on to these things, I'll take up with my next, that is the various techniques which are being employed by the banks. Just a second. Okay, so in case now you have understood everything, now what is the risk management in case of the banking? If we can understand, it is basically the process of identifying, assessing and controlling threats to an organization capital and earning, like whatsoever capital it is being there and whatsoever the earnings are, if there is some sort of a risk and it is not properly employed, or you can say properly assessed, it will lead to a threat to the earnings of that organization. So these threats or risks you can stem for a wide variety of sources, like financial uncertainty hota hai, legal obligation hota hai. So its aims is to basically minimize the risk. So why we employ this risk management? Because since we are into banking is basically into providing the loans, or you can say basically dealing with the customers. So बहुत सारे functions कर रहा है जिसमें money है, and then it lead to the various types of the risk which we have read already. So to minimize those risks, because you can't basically say that we want to eliminate the risk. You can't eliminate the risk, but you can always minimize that risk. For that, we have employed this risk management. So various types of tools are being used. The first, the first that is there is the VAR, that is known as the value at risk. It estimates how much a set of investment might lose given normal market condition. Normal market condition में कितना होगा, approach to the risk, that the risk associated with the exposure. So this Reserve Bank of India has introduced basically two statements. First is the maturity position and the interest rate sensitivity for the measurement of the foreign exchange risk exposures. कितना हमारा foreign exchange का exposure रहता है. Basically, RBI provide these two statements, and on the by taking into account these two statements, we can take an appropriate steps. Now the risk management framework. Risk management का framework क्या है? Role of RBI. See, RBI is the one which is known as a central bank, and it is the one which is guiding the other banks. So a board called Board for Financials, BFS, Board for Financial Supervision, which works under the control of RBI. So RBI is heading it and supervise all the financial institutions except the stock market, because stock market is regulated by SEBI and insurance. Okay. If you are not able to hear me, if any one of you can let me know if my voice is being audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Suraj, yeah, it's audible, na Gauri?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Rajesh, please check at your end. Please check at your end. Maybe some problem is there. Rajesh, maybe there is some problem at your end. Please check once, because everyone is able to hear me. Okay. So maybe there is a problem at your end, or maybe connection problem is there. So if now you are able to hear me. Okay, maybe some problem at his end only. Rest all of you can hear me now. Suraj, your connection problem is there, I think so. Jagtap, or just a second. If anyone can let me know if my voice is being audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now it's audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Maybe some network issue was there. Okay. Okay, I have covered up like what are the various frameworks. I'll start with that. See, for basically you can say RBI is the one which is basically guiding every banks. But we have various committee also. वो बहुत सारी committees की जो recommendations हैं, वो क्या उन्होंने regulations बनाई हैं. I'll tell you each and everything. You just don't need to cram those things. You just need to understand like what are the committees, what are the recommendation, and what are the guiding principles. You don't need to cram the things कि अच्छा इसमें क्या क्या था. नहीं, cram नहीं करना है हमें सिर्फ समझ के लेना है कि कैसे वो guide करते हैं and what are those features. Okay, I'll provide you with each and everything and I'll give these PDFs to you. Okay, in the first unit PDF I'll share with Vishal ma'am and then she will share with you. Okay. Now coming on to the role of RBI, as I told you that RBI is basically the governing authority which guide basically all the financial supervision is being done. So various frameworks like BFS has been using CAMELS relating to evaluate the financial soundness of the domestic banks. So what is a CAMELS model consist of? It basically consists of, you can say, components, 6 components, namely what are those components? बहुत सारे components हैं. 6 components क्या हैं उसके मैं आपको बताती हूँ. The first is the capital adequacy, then is the asset quality, management, earning quality, liquidity, sensitivity to the market risk. So what is the asset quality means? It determines the quality of loans given by a bank. Like on the basis of what they are providing you the loans, so you assess that. So it basically provides the quality of loan given by banks. Okay. Then is the management, whether an institution is able to properly react to the financial stress. If there is some financial stress, if the bank is able to face that. So then is the earning quality. So what is the earning quality means? Basically like the income of the bank is a spread. So ability to create appropriate return. Okay. Then is the liquidity. Liquidity, as I told you, that it is able to meet the customer requirement with its own capital funds or with its own fund. It don't go and borrow the funds at a higher rate from the other banks. So the sensitivity to market risk. So the institution sensitivity to a particular risk is known as the sensitivity to the market risk. So this framework, which was recommended by Basel Committee on the banking supervision for the internal settlement. So there is one other model that is known as CACLCS model. So what does it mean? Capital adequacy, asset quality, liquidity compliance, and system. So the name itself told you like what things are being covered in this. It is basically similar to CAMELS only. So what are the various, you can say the insight of this is like sporting. कैसे है उसमें बेसल नॉर्म्स क्या है, बेसल की कितनी नॉर्म्स आई हैं, बेसल 1, बेसल 2, बेसल 3. These are being there so that they implement the risk management. And the third is a PCA to take the corrective actions. So these norms I'll take up tomorrow. So these things you need to understand that today various types of risk which are being employed in the organization, which are being there in the banking. And now after that we will covering with the various types of recommendation. बेसल की क्या थी, बेसल 1 की recommendation क्या थी, बेसल 2 की recommendation क्या थी, and then you need to understand these things. Okay. And one more thing that this term इसके बाद मैं आपका शुरू करूंगी enterprisepreneurs पे. Okay. Like how risk management is working in the other enterprise. Okay, when you are in some enterprise, how you will going to employ your funds, तो वो किस वे से आप यूज करने वाले हो, that will be basically that. So till now if you have any issue you can ask me. So basically you need to understand the various committees that were being formed and what are the basically the various norms. जिन्होंने norms दिए थे उतना हम करेंगे. Then we can understand like how the risk is being managed over there. So if you want to take up a career like something in the risk management, then you should be aware of all these things. Or even as a finance student, you need to understand like what are the various risk management teams or the committees that are being there. Enterprise के लिए अलग है, हर किसी का अलग है. Insurance के लिए अलग रहता है. Insurance की regulation कौन देता है? इंश्योरेंस की रेगुलेशंस कौन देता है?
IRDA.
ओके, एंड व्हाट अबाउट एंटरप्राइज? जो आपकी बेसिकली ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस रहती हैं उनको कौन बेसिकली वो रहता है, गवर्निंग अथॉरिटी? We will cover all these things in my next. I'll take one more lecture with this banking, and then this banking part will be covered. Then we will be moving to the next unit that will be for the enterprise, and then how insurance sector works. Insurance के लिए कैसे regulations रहती है और insurance risk management में कैसे beneficial रहता है and how it is helping it out. We will understand that. Till now it's clear. The first unit PPT will be shared with you. Okay. You need to see basic जो टर्म्स हैं वो आपको कौन सी देखनी है. एक तो फ्री राइडर प्रॉब्लम क्या रहता है, बैंक का इनकम स्प्रेड क्या होता है. दीज आर द थिंग्स यू डोंट नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि सिर्फ मुझे जॉब के लिए चाहिए. नहीं, वंस यू फेस द इंटरव्यू दीज आर द बेसिक टर्म्स व्हिच interviewer may ask you. Okay, what is a asymmetric information, how the agency problem arises, or what is a free rider problem, what is the income of a bank. So these are basically the general terms which you need to understand being a finance student. So these are the basic terms that are being there. Then what are the various types of the risk? Okay, so you need to understand these because only then I'll proceed with my various committees recommendation कि वो कैसे ऐसे कमेटी की recommendations आई है वो तभी मैं आपको बता पाऊंगी जब भी आपको इतना समझ में आया क्या है. Okay, in my tomorrow lecture I'll take with all these things. Just a second. If I can show you like this, just a second. See, Basel 1. If you can see, it is basically for what? Okay, I brief you about this. What is BIS? BIS is Bank for International Settlement. So the mission of BIS क्यों बनाया गया था? It is to serve the central bank of different nations in the pursuit of monetary and financial statement. अभी हर बैंक अलग country का अलग central bank है. So to basically provide or you can to serve the various countries central bank, this come into existence, that is the Bank for International Settlement. ताकि financial stability और monetary stability हो, because once you enter into a foreign market there are various types of risks that are being involved to foster basically international cooperation. So what act? They act as a bank for the central bank. Okay, they act as a link between those. Then the Basel Committee is the primary global standard setter for the prudential regulations of banks. So it acts as a committee which is whose norms are being followed by all the countries. So it is basically, you can say, the guiding principle for all. So Basel norms have three aims. The first norm that was there, or you can say the aim that was there, is the make the banking sector strong enough to withstand economic and financial stress. See, before this banking, जब तक globalization and ये सब नहीं था, the basically to increase, or you can say to have the surplus fund is not easy. But now with the globalization you can easily go and hire basically invest money, you can easily acquire money. So this is done only and only after this, you can say, international or globalization has taken place. And why it has taken place, कैसे अभी क्या है, अभी सभी banks interrelated है, foreign exchange transactions करने में इतना hampered नहीं होता है. Then you need to reduce the risk in the system. Whatsoever risk is there in the system, if you are going for some foreign exchange market, and there is obviously a risk because you are dealing with someone who is not, you don't know about the creditability. But once this committee is formed, it is formed basically for this purpose, so that these transactions become more and more smooth, and then to improve the transparency in banks. So the everything that is being managed by the bank, or you can say whatsoever funds are being employed in the banks, it's become transparent. Okay, transparency here means that you should know that whatsoever funds you have given are being employed in some lawful things, and it is not employed for something which you can say as a unlawful, or you can't justify it. So bank need to give a justification for whatsoever it is the funds are being employed by that. Now the Basel is basically divided into Basel 1, Basel 2, and Basel 3. So what is Basel 1 here mean? Basel 1 means it is a set of international banking regulations which are being set out at the minimum capital requirement of financial institution with the goal of minimizing the credit risk. आपको credit risk कम करने के लिए आपने ये set किया था. अभी वो किस तरह से set किया था? उन्होंने क्या क्लासिफिकेशन दिया था? बैंक एसेट क्लासिफिकेशन डिफाइंड बैंक एसेट्स इनटू 5 कैटेगरीज. 5 कैटेगरीज बनाई थी उन्होंने. क्या था? रिस्क परसेंटेज के लिए एक 0, एक 10, एक 20, एक 50, एक 100. So that they can classify the risk according to that. Okay. So these all the Basel committees I'll be covering tomorrow. So I brief you about that. Now we will cover this Basel 1, Basel 2 and Basel 3. So you need to basically Basel Accord जो है वो आपको समझ में आना जरूरी है. Okay, I'll explain that. So once I'll take the rest of my unit in my next lecture only. Okay. So hope it is clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. I'll take the rest in my next lecture. Okay. Okay. If you want, you can leave the meeting with them.